we're going to continue with the explication of the lesson, The Social Responsibilities of Scientists, by the eminent philosopher and logician Sir Bertrand. Right? We've already completed a part of the lesson. Now we're on page 52 of the PDF, in which part we have this subheading, Affecting Public Opinion. That is the subheading. Now, if you look at the title of the lesson, The Social Responsibilities of Scientists, you know that social responsibility means that it is a responsibility to society. Social means society. So, responsibility towards society by the scientists. And if scientists want to affect society, okay, if they have a responsibility towards society, then they must affect public opinion, right? The opinion of the public matters. Only then will society be influenced, right? So this part is called affecting public opinion. Now what does Sir Bertrand say here? Modern democracy and modern methods of publicity have made the problem of affecting public opinion quite different from what it used to be, right? So how was public opinion affected, for example, in ancient times, during the time of the Romans and the Greeks? You know, the Roman Empire, it extended practically over the whole of Europe. So if something happened in one corner of the Roman Empire, news of that event to reach the other corner would take weeks, if not months. So affecting public opinion in the past was different. The issue of affecting public opinion in the ancient times is different. Now, in the time of Sir Bertrand Russell, how is public opinion affected? Right? Now it's the age of electronics, the radio, the television, the newspaper. Okay? This was in the time of Sir Bertrand Russell. So now what happens? If some event happens in one corner of the world, one part of the world, news of it immediately is spread to all the other parts of the world. Right? It spreads throughout the world because, okay, of modern methods of communication. So I'll read that sentence again. Modern democracy and modern methods of publicity. What are the modern methods of publicity? As I said, the newspaper, the television, and the radio will be Bertrand Russell's style. Modern methods of publicity have made the problem of affecting public opinion quite different from what it used to be. The knowledge that the public possesses on any important issue. So, every day at breakfast, the people read the newspaper. Every evening before they go to bed, they watch the news. Every day, they listen to the news on the radio. Right? So, the knowledge that the public possesses on a daily basis on any important issue is derived. Where do they get the knowledge from? Vast and powerful organizations. Which are those vast and powerful organizations? The press, the radio, and above all, television. Right? So that's how the public gets its news. The knowledge that governments possess is more limited. The governments are the administrative parts of a society. They carry out projects for the good of society. Right? So the knowledge that governments possess is more limited, says Sir Bertrand Russell. They are too busy to search out the facts for themselves, and consequently they know only what their underlings think is good for them. Okay? So the governments have ministers. The governments have ministers. These ministers, they are politicians. But these politicians, their advice, for example, the defense minister will have a scientific advisor to the defense minister. Now, this scientific advisor to the defense minister, he will advise the defense minister on all important issues regarding to defense, right? So the minister will then take he will then take action, will then take a decision based on the advice given by the scientific advisor. So, governments, that is the ministers, how do they take decisions based on what the underlings of the subordinates. For example, scientific advisors, the financial advisors to the government. So what these underlings think is good for the government, that is what the governments will do, right? Because ministers themselves, the government themselves, they're too busy to search out facts for themselves. So you can't expect a politician to become an expert in science. You can't expect an economics minister, finance minister to become an expert in economics, right? So whatever decisions they take, whatever decisions the ministers take, is based on the advice given by the advisor. So now what happens? Okay, facts which ought to guide the decisions of statesmen. For instance, as to the possible legal qualities of follow do not require their due importance if they remain very inside journals. Now, one of the important issues during the lifetime of Bertrand was nuclear war. After all, towards the end of the Second World War, Hiroshima and Nagasaki were bombed with atomic weapons. So, the issue of nuclear war was a serious issue, and the public ought to be educated about the pros and cons, the advantages and disadvantages, what is for, what is against nuclear. The public has to be educated about this, right? Now, nuclear explosions, they're studied by the scientists. The scientists have invented the atomic weapons. The scientists study all the aspects of the nuclear explosions. One of the aspects of nuclear explosion is called fallout. Fallout means once an explosion takes place, the radiation from the explosion, the radioactivity, will spread out into the atmosphere. It will spread for a radius of 100 miles from the place where the bomb was exploded. It will spread out for a radius of 100 miles, right? And the whole area will be affected by the radioactivity. Now, radioactivity affects life very badly. For example, it may make the soil sterile. Nothing will grow on the soil. Okay, no plants will grow. And if people are exposed to radioactivity from nuclear explosions, okay, it will affect the genes. So the generation which is born next, it will be mutated, it will be changed, it will be somewhat twisted. The face will be twisted, the arms will be twisted, because the genes have been affected by the radioactivity, right? So all these effects are there. Now, the public ought to be educated about the lethal qualities of nuclear fallout. The scientists have studied this nuclear fallout, but where do they publish their findings? They publish them in scientific journals. And you must know what scientific journals are like. Very complex journals, right? Full of very advanced equations, complex equations, right? You can't expect a member of the general public to understand what is being in scientific journal, right? So what happens? All the effects of fallout which have been studied, they remain buried in scientific journals, right? So what happens? The lethal qualities, the deadly qualities of fallout, the public public is not educated about this, right? But they should be, because it's a serious issue, right? If the governments were to go to war, nuclear war, then nobody would be the winner. Neither side would be the winner. And the whole world would be, radioactivity would envelop the whole world. The whole world would become sterile, and all the major cities would be vaporized, right? And also fallout would affect the whole world for a century or more. So no food, no people, right? All these legal qualities are many of the public may not know, right? So, for example, the facts which are buried in scientific journals, they acquire their due importance. These facts which are lying buried in scientific journals, they acquire their due importance only when they become known to so many voters. They become known to so many voters, right? That affect the course of the elections. So if one political party says, we support nuclear weapons, and another party says, we do not support nuclear weapons, then the public which is going to vote, if they have all the facts about nuclear weapons, they know all the facts, then the elections, the course of the elections will be affected, right? So, these scientific facts get their importance only when they affect the course of something like the general elections, right? Otherwise, what happens to all these scientific facts? They will remain buried in scientific journals. Nobody will know about it, right? So here what are we talking about? We're talking about how public opinion is affected. How scientists should should be socially responsible in educating the general public, right? Okay. In general, there is an opposition to widespread publicity for such facts. So Bertrand says, there are people in society, there are forces in society which oppose the publicizing of scientific facts. Okay? For example, all the scientific facts about nuclear weapons, they are not generally publicized. Right? Where do these forces? Who opposes the publicizing of scientific facts? For example, this opposition springs from various sources. Opposition to the publicizing of scientific facts comes from various sources. Some are sinister, some comparatively respectable. Sinister means they're done like cunning, right? Some sources in society, some forces in society oppose the publicizing of scientific facts. Okay, some forces are respectable. They also oppose. Some are sinister, right? So he says, at the bottom of the moral scale, you know what a moral scale means? Moral means good or bad. At the bottom of the moral scale, the worst forces which oppose the publicizing of scientific facts. At the bottom of the moral scale, there is a financial interest of the various industries connected with armaments. Armaments are weapons, nuclear weapons, right? Now, if members of the general public knew the whole story about nuclear weapons, now nuclear weapons, just to manufacture one nuclear bomb, it costs billions of dollars, right? It costs billions of dollars. And these companies which manufacture the nuclear bombs, what do? They stop the publicizing of facts about nuclear bombs. Because members of the general public knew the facts about nuclear bombs, then they would say there would be a general outcry, stop the manufacture of nuclear bombs. Right? They would say stop the manufacture of nuclear bombs. So, what happens? At the bottom of the moral scale, there are these companies. They're interested only in the financial interest. They will make billions of dollars. But if those nuclear weapons were to be used, then millions of people will lose their lives. Right? So at the bottom of the model scale, there is a financial interest of the various industries connected with arms. Then there are various effects in a somewhat thoughtless patriotism, which believes in secrecy and correspondence. So some people believe in secrecy. You should not publicize facts about nuclear weapons because the enemy will find out. So there are some people believe in secrecy, so they stop the publicizing of facts about nuclear weapons. Okay? And then there are some which want to be tough. If we have this number of nuclear weapons, then the others will be afraid of us. We are tough. They believe in toughness. Right? So all these three types of forces, one which is interested in the financial aspect, the other which believes in secrecy, the third which believes in toughness, all oppose the publicizing of facts about nuclear weapons. Okay? Okay? But perhaps more important than either of these is the unpleasantness of the facts. Okay, so unpleasantness of the facts. Just now I told you how nuclear war will affect society. Nuclear war will cause sterility in the soil. It will cause mutation in the coming generations. Radioactivity will cause mutation, changes of the features in the coming generations. So then there will be a worldwide vaporizing of major cities, right? So these unpleasant facts, right? So people just don't want to find out about this. They just don't want to find out about all these unpleasant facts. So what do the general public do? They turn to pleasant topics such as divorce and illness. Now, they're hearing something about nuclear weapons on the radio, and it's very unpleasant, right? So what do? They change the channel, they change the station, and then listen to something about divorces or murders. Those topics are much more pleasanter than nuclear. So, you see what happens. There are many aspects to the publicizing of scientific facts, right? So, the consequence is that what ought to be known widely throughout the general public will not be known widely unless great efforts are made by disinterested persons. Disinterested people, they don't have any interest, they just want to educate the public. Only if such people come forward, then only public opinion will change. Right? Disinterested persons to see that the information reaches the minds and hearts of vast numbers of people. So, vast numbers of people should be educated. They should be disinterested scientists or interested in educating the members of the general public. Only then will the discoveries of science be known to the majority of people. I do not think this work can be successfully accomplished except by the help of men of science. So, only men of science, only scientists can publicize facts about scientific discoveries. If you or I were to try to publicize a fact about science, we will not be successful because we don't know about science. So only scientists themselves, some disinterested scientists, they should come forward, they should state the facts about the discoveries in terms which are intelligible to the majority. Only then will the public be educated. Only then will public opinion be affected. But if these disinterested scientists don't come along, then what happens? We'll have to face the consequences of the discoveries without knowing about them. Right? So, the men of science alone can speak with authority that is necessary to combat the misleading statements of those scientists who committed themselves to become merchants of death. So some scientists have committed themselves to become merchants of death. They willingly, they openly discover new weapons. They discover biological weapons, they discover germ warfare, they discover chemical weapons, right? These scientists have openly committed themselves to become merchants of death, right? Only if the other type, those disinterested scientists come forward and put forward to the public all the facts about these merchants of death, only then will society be protected, right? Only then will society be safe. If disinterested scientists do not speak up, the others will succeed in conveying a distorted impression, not only to the public but also to the politicians. So these merchants of death, what do they say? They distort the facts. The facts are very dangerous, but they state it in such a way that they seem nice to the members of the general public. Only if the disinterested scientists come and they state the facts properly, will members of the general public will their opinion be obtained. Otherwise, the rest of them will succeed in conveying a distorted impression and the public will be misled. So all these facts affect the public opinion, the opinion of the public on matters related to science. Right? So we'll stop there.